Darren Aronofsky's The Fountain is a puzzle box of a film within a series of Russian dolls tied up in Chinese finger traps. Some call it a masterwork and others call it pretentious, but we'd like to offer our take on this esoteric classic as we believe the director's true message remains undiscovered. The Fountain has three separate narratives, a story within a story, and then a vast, psychedelic smorgasbord for the senses taking place in what we assume is the far future. Much debate occurs on whether the stories are focused on different characters or reincarnations that represent an emotional narrative spanning from ancient South America to the depths of outer space. All are fascinating hypotheses, but after much investigation, it is clear to us that the experience Aronofsky is articulating, with hitherto unseen artistic effort and genius, is the experience of eating an entire box of Mr. Kipling's Bramley apple pies in one sitting. The evidence is undeniable. In the story of the Conquistador, this is the story within a story, Jackman is on a quest to find the Tree of Life. The narrative is full of allusions and clues to what will be relevant in terms of fact and theme later in the story, examples of which are symbols like the ring, the church, and the tree. Coincidentally, a box of Mr. Kipling's Bramley apple pies also comes in three parts: the cardboard packaging, the inner transparent cellophane, and finally, the glorious Mr. Kipling's Bramley apple pies themselves. Like the story of the Conquistador, the cardboard packaging is inscribed with clues, inscriptions, suggestions of what is to come later. 2D pictographs showing the transcendent Bramley apple experience to come, along with written clues like Mr. Kipling, melt-in-the-mouth pastry, and best before end December 15th. In the second story, we meet the doctor, whose wife is dying of an incurable disease. Instead of spending precious time with his love, he instead wastes it trying to cure her disease in the lab while she passes away alone. His emotional arc is the prism through which we understand that final logical endpoint of the monk's journey in the third story, destined to accept death one way or another. In other words, the doctor's plight is the cellophane prism through which we view the Mr. Kipling Bramley apple pies, destined to be consumed in an orgiastic fugue state before the inevitable, thunderous marching of the use-by date. I fucking love Bramley apple pies. In the final story of The Wandering Space Monk, or as it's written in early versions of the script, the Bramley apple pie bonanza, we see what may be the same doctor having cured in himself the disease of death, ferrying the spirit of his wife to a collapsing star in order for her to be born again. Darren Aaronofsky paints a story of the perverse extension of life through unnatural means and the acceptance of mortality being the only way to enjoy life in the present, or to truly realise one's love for another human being. He incrementally eats from the tree to sustain himself just enough to continue this fool's errand, much like a man slowly eating a Mr. Kipling's Bramley apple pie, minuscule piece by minuscule piece, to forestall the inevitable emptiness of the once plentiful box. Aronofsky is trying to tell us that allowing fresh Bramley apple goodness to go stale through stockpiling is itself the true blasphemy. The spaceman has tried to sustain his romance long past its best before date in the 21st century and is now feasting on the stale, unsatisfying crumbs of the Bramley apple pie that represents life and consciousness. It is only when he accepts that the box of Bramley apple pies will come to an end, and this is in itself where value is measured, that he becomes enlightened and submits himself to the enveloping cosmic nothingness, represented here by the monk returning to the womb-like golden glow of the inside of a Bramley apple pie. Opinion on this film is famously divided, but I hope that our modest analysis can bring a renaissance in its study and to the sale of mid-range baked goods. The Fountain certainly changed my perspective on the world, and I hope that it can change yours. It's just like Bramley Aaronofsky said, gorge yourself on the pie of life every single precious day. The choking down of pastry is the road to ore. Thank you.